back to Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney, and today you're joining me for a bit of an experiment this week. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Check out the other content that I have and see if this is some place that you would like to belong to. Hit that subscribe button. Love to have you. If you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and check out the memberships to see if you like any of the extra perks that come with being a member of my channel. So if you watched my wrap up, you might have seen the beginning of a brainchild. I was actually looking and using my iPad to show something on in the Kindle library. And I kind of got obsessed with the look of the Kindle library. Now, if you have known me on this channel, you know I'm an e-reader girl. I have so many Kindles. I've branched into books. I've branched into Kobo. And I just love the idea of e-reading. I've gotten rid of the majority of my physical books, and I really am focused on e-reading. The books are generally cheaper. I can get them right away. I love that immediate gratification, and it just works out for me. So I've never really dove into the Kindle app on a phone. I've used it here and there if I needed to look at something. Generally, I use it if I am trying to figure out like what page I'm on. When I'm trying to sync my actual Kindle in public without Wi-Fi, I might use my phone's Kindle app to figure that out. So imagine my surprise when I pulled open the Kindle app on my iPad and was amazed at the way it looked. So let me just show you what I'm looking at. So this is my big boy iPad. This is the 12.9 iPad Pro. This is an old version. This is from 2018. I got it maybe about 4 years ago. Obviously, the older iPad you get, the cheaper it is. I got it on Amazon, and it still gets all of the updates. And so while part of me wants to get a new iPad, the other part is like, nothing's wrong with this one, so like there's no need to. I also have an iPad mini, but this experiment is going to focus strictly on the larger iPad. So I am attempting to use this iPad for 1 week only instead of using any e-reader. Now, I started last night and I low-key loved it. I am reading Chow Maniac by Jennifer Chow, and it is already an amazing use. Okay, so I wrote down some goals that I want to look at as I am evaluating this for the week. So first, I want to look at the battery life. We know part of the appeal of Kindle is that you don't have to charge that thing for weeks on end. And if you're having like really heavy usage, maybe every week or week and a half, you're charging it. But the iPad obviously is a full color screen. I also use it for other things, and so I'm trying to see like how that battery life will hold up. The next is distractibility. I think one of the major benefits of the e-reader is that you have nothing on there but books. Now, having an iPad in front of me, I have access to my reading journal, I have access to the internet, I have access to messages if I want, and so how distracted will I be using an iPad? Next is the annotation benefits. Now, I do have an Apple Pencil with mine, and so, you know, in all of the e-readers, you can highlight, and I want to see like what that feels like on the iPad. Is it easier or not? And then I want to check for the blue light usage, because part of the appeal of e-readers is it doesn't have the full blue light, and so you're kind of saving your eyes. As you can see, I have blue light glasses on right now because I'm on a computer all day, and so I don't love getting headaches because of blue light, and so I want to see what that is. And then finally, I'm going to be looking and comparing the size of the iPad. Now again, I'm using the big iPad specifically for this experiment. Like I said, I started using it last night, and it didn't bother me too much laying in bed with it. Obviously, I didn't have it holding like this. I just had it kind of propped up. But it was so far so good there. So those are the areas that I want to focus on as I start this journey this week. So I will be checking in throughout the week to give you updates on how this is going. I'm kind of excited. Like I said, I was really excited about the look of the library, and excited to use my iPad a bit more than I do already. And so this should be interesting. So let's see how this goes. All right, this is my first time checking in. So usually I read while I'm waiting to pick up my youngest from school. I get here intentionally early so that I have a moment to decompress before she comes home, because it's work, pick her up, start her off on her homework, then it's finish work, exercise, and then we're off and rolling. So I take this time to read, and so I'm reading on the iPad. Now, I will say last night I did... Oh my goodness. I think in the first clip I said I was reading The Chow Maniac by Jennifer Chow. This is The Chow Maniac by Vivian Chin. And I started on this last night. And I got to chapter 5 or 6. And you could see what I really like is like how many words are on the screen, surprisingly, because I don't usually like that. But there's a ton of words on the screen, which makes the chapters go by pretty quickly. Also, it's a cozy mystery, so they're always pretty short. But I am going to enjoy sitting here, and then you can see too, it's like perfectly balanced on the steering wheel. So I think we're good. All right, I'm going to start to read. Hey guys, checking in. It's Tuesday and I am updating you on my progress with reading on an iPad, specifically the large iPad. So I have been reading the book Chow Maniac by Vivian Chin, and I have been sort of taking the iPad everywhere, reading it at night, and I usually, as I said in my last clip, take it to the school pickup and read in the parking lot, and I'm really liking it. I'm so surprised at myself because I am such an e-reader person that I was really expecting to dislike it, because for whatever reason I had it in my head that it wasn't going to be a great fit. But I'm really having a great time with the larger screen, and I remember this is why I bought a Scribe, was to have that larger screen. I find that having the larger screen actually helps you get through the book a bit faster because you're reading more on the page, so you have less swipes to get to the end. I'm annotating a whole lot more because annotation with the Apple Pencil is very precise. And I noticed on the Kindle, like, you have to hold it down and you have to get it right to where you want it. And it's, I mean, very first world, but it does cause issues sometimes. And I usually have long nails on, like today I have short ones, but when I have long nails on, it's hard to like guide specifically. Anyway, very small thing, but on here, you just hold it down. Of course, it's not gonna do it. You just hold it down and boom, you're highlighting so easily. And so I really like that feature. Since it's a cozy mystery, I am highlighting to get some of the info together so that I can make my own judgment on who I think did it. But I'm really liking it. I thought I might be bothered by the blue light, but the blue light's not really bothering me at all. I'm trying to see what's my setting on. You can see my setting there for the screen, and that has been serving me just fine both at night and as I'm going out into the car and reading. I don't have any glare. I have a matte screen protector on because I do write on it. So that might be helping with the glare. Obviously it's an iPad, so the battery life is a little rough. Yesterday I started at 100%, and by the end of the day I was at 68%. And then I did not charge it last night, and I was at 46% or something this morning. Now granted, like I said, I have an older iPad, so like the battery life is decent, but it's not great. So I'm not holding that against it. But yeah, it's been a really surprisingly good experience. And so I'm going to continue using it to see how it goes. I would say the only downside right now is the distractibility. And I talked about that as being one of the things I'm sort of checking for, because part of having an e-reader is that you're not distracted by things you might be distracted on your phone. Now, I'm obsessed with this game. It is called Good Sorting, and it is just like you are putting 3 in a row, like any of the Candy Crushes or whatever, but you're in a grocery store, so you're putting grocery items. Anyway, it's super mindless, and I keep going back to that game in the middle of reading. So I might read 1 or 2 chapters and then play a few levels and then go back. And I don't think it's terribly slowing me down, but I definitely would not be doing it if I was not on an iPad. So if there's a downside right now, that is it. Even the size hasn't been too cumbersome. Like I said, laying in bed has been fine. In the car, I've propped it against the steering wheel. It's been fine. So I don't know. I might have unlocked a cheat code for myself. So I will keep using it and come back with some more updates. Guys, coming back to you with my final thoughts on using the iPad as my reading device for a week. I am actually surprised on how this went for me. If you guys know, as I've mentioned in this video, that I am very much into e-readers. I have a whole collection and I've never really been into the Kindle app itself. But I was drawn to it simply based on the aesthetics of how it looks. And I was really excited to see like my library like this and everything. So that's how we started. So I started out the week really strong. I loved reading on it because the font is nice and spaced out. You seem to get through chapters a bit faster because there's more on the page. And so you're kind of whipping through things a bit faster in my opinion, which is always a good thing. And I wasn't missing the portability, I guess, of the Kindle because generally I have a smaller purse. So whether I bring a Kindle or this iPad, I have the device in my hand. Like it is an extra thing for me. So that wasn't really bothersome. And even taking it with me during the car pickup, or excuse me, school pickup in the carpool, totally fine. It wasn't cumbersome. The only thing that got me, and this could just be a me thing, was the distractibility. And I think part of having an e-reader, as I've said, is that you don't get distracted. But this actually took me out of reading so many times because I could not hold it together. First of all, my messages would come through on here, so you can respond to text messages. But most importantly, my new grocery store game I told you guys about, I think I stopped to play that so much. It took over the priority of reading. Like I would read a chapter and then go play a few rounds of the game and then come back, and I was just like, I cannot do this because I'm not focused on reading. There was one night on, I want to say Tuesday night, that I had to charge the iPad, and so the only Kindle I had next to my bed was the Oasis. I picked that up and then I fell back in love with the Oasis, and that was a really great hold and feel. But overall, if I had to rate this experience on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it an 8. I think the Kindle app is fabulous. I think it's super responsive. It looks beautiful. If you are looking for that color element and you already have an iPad, I could see why you would use this. There's other factors I didn't use yet, such as like my digital reading journal could be easily accessed on here. If you were taking notes, that could be done as well. The annotation was really crisp on here. Highlighting was very precise, which isn't always the case with Kindles. And so overall, the experience is really, really great. For me personally, the downside was being distracted by other apps on the device. So comment down below what you think about this experiment. Do you use an iPad currently as your main reading device? I think my viewpoint on it has totally changed. And I think I might be more apt to pick up my iPad to read now than I would have in the past. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.